you just answer the question if he said that the FBI headquarters where they investigate cybercrime and terrorism should be shut down and opened as a deep state,
Mr. Chair,
as a museum? Did he say that the headquarters should be shut down?
Mr. Chair,
I deserve an answer to that question.
Do you believe he is brave or not?
Yeah,
Back those words?
Once again, Senator, Edward Snowden broke the law. He also released information
we agree that Edward Snowden
that exposed the United States government's illegal
your
programs.
Legislation and your words are still your beliefs.
The future of 3 of President Trump's most controversial cabinet nominees hang in the balance after they faced off with senators yesterday. Kash Patel, the nominee for FBI director, Director of National Intelligence pick Tulsi Gabbard, and RFK Jr., Trump's choice to lead the Department of Health and Human Services, all sparred with senators on Capitol Hill Thursday. The hearings could provide clues to the nominees' chances of confirmation ahead of Senate votes. Joining us to discuss this and more, Alexander Bolton, senior staff writer here at The Hill. Alex, thanks so much for coming on. Let's take Gabbard first. It seems like she might be the most in danger. Here's Republican Senator Todd Young questioning Gabbard during the hearing yesterday.
Do you have any response to the bipartisan findings of the House Intel Committee, which stated that, quote, Snowden caused tremendous damage to national security, unquote, including to military, defense, and intelligence programs of great interest to America's adversaries?
As I've said before, Edward Snowden broke the law, and I do not agree with how he chose to release information and the extent of the information and intelligence that he released.
It's notable you didn't say, yes, he clearly hurt in various ways our national security.
Alex, Republican Senator Josh Hawley went on Fox News after the Gabbard hearing. He's saying that her nomination may be in jeopardy. Who do you think are the key votes here, and what's going to be the deciding factor?
Well, I think the key vote is going to be Todd Young. So you showed the right clip. The Intelligence Committee is split 11 Republicans, 10 Democrats. So it means that any single member on the Republican side, if they vote against Tulsi Gabbard, she gets stuck in committee and there's no recourse to bringing her to the floor, save some kind of drastic action. Now, Todd Young is really keeping his cards close to the vest. He declined to speak to reporters yesterday. He hasn't spoken to reporters for days, but clearly he was not happy with Gabbard's answers, particularly her refusal to acknowledge that Snowden inflicted serious damage to national security interests by stealing 1.5 million classified documents, fleeing to China, fleeing to Russia, becoming a Russian citizen. And, the thing to point out here is that Young is a former Marine Corps intelligence officer. I think he takes this personally. And that was also revealed by his question to Gabbard. He said, put yourself in the shoes of intelligence analysts and professionals. How do you think they feel, these rank and file analysts and professionals, if you are taking over as DNI and you are not willing to call out Edward Snowden as a traitor? So, and then towards the end of his questioning, he said, I have the information that I need. Seemed to indicate that, he's ready to vote no. Now, we'll see what happens. As I said, he's keeping his cards close to the vest. So we don't know until he casts that vote, which may be in closed session. So we may never know who votes against Gabbard in committee, although I expect that would probably leak out. The other key vote, of course, is Susan Collins, another senior member on the Intelligence Committee. She voted against Pete Hegseth, Trump's nominee to head the Pentagon. She's had some concerns expressed about Gabbard, specifically about Gabbard's past opposition to Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. That is a major authority that feeds information in the president's daily intelligence brief. Collins told The Hill last week that she was not happy with Gabbard's answers on Section 702, thought that she had hedged her answers and that she had not really reversed her position, as some Republicans were saying. So those are two key votes to start.
I want to ask you about RFK Jr. He appeared in front of 2 committees this week. Yesterday, there were some awkward moments where Kennedy wasn't able to exactly explain the differences between aspects of Medicare, also appeared to confuse differences between Medicare and Medicaid. Republican Senator Bill Cassidy said he had some reservations, especially regarding Kennedy's views on vaccines. Let's take a listen to that.
Does a 70-year-old man, 71-year-old man who spent decades criticizing vaccines and who's financially vested in finding fault with vaccines, can he change his attitudes and approach now that he'll have the most important position influencing vaccine policy in the United States.
Alex, where do you think Kennedy's nomination is at this point? Are there other Republicans besides Cassidy considering voting against him?
Well, the other Republican that folks are looking at is Mitch McConnell, the former Republican leader. He's a polio survivor, and he takes this personally. He put out a statement a few weeks back urging Kennedy to steer clear of any undermining of public confidence in vaccines. And he said that undermining the public confidence in vaccines is not only uninformed, it's dangerous. So he said, I would advise anyone who seeks to head HHS to steer clear of that. Well, this hearing didn't really go so well for Kennedy because Cassidy asked him point blank if he would say that then and there that vaccines for measles or hepatitis B are not linked to autism. And Kennedy wouldn't do that. He really hedged his answer and said, well, if the data shows that, I will say that. So that is not the answer that Cassidy was looking for. That's not the answer that Mitch McConnell's looking for. So I think Kennedy's nomination is in trouble. And that's something that John Fetterman, who was thought to be open to voting for Kennedy, John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, a Democrat who has voted for these other Trump nominees, said that he thinks that Kennedy may not even get out of committee. So again, Cassidy is on the Finance Committee, so he will have a key vote there, and we'll just have to see what happens.
Let's talk about Kash Patel. He's the nominee for FBI director. Democrats tried to use the words of former Trump administration officials to bolster their arguments against Patel. Let's take a listen to Dick Durbin. He's the top Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Listen to these Republicans who worked with him during the Trump's first administration. Attorney General Bill Barr, and I quote, I categorically oppose making Patel deputy FBI director. I said it would happen over my dead body. He traffics in debunked conspiracy theories that serve or benefit his political beliefs.
If the best attacks on me are going to be false accusations and grotesque mischaracterizations, the only thing this body is doing is defeating the credibility of the men and women at the FBI.
Alex, Democrats seem to step on each other's questions during this hearing, sometimes repeating criticisms of Patel word for word. For someone as controversial as Patel, do you think Democrats were able to land any damaging blows?
Well, I think, there's the court of public opinion, and then there are the Republicans who are going to vote for this nominee. And I thought, Adam Schiff of California, I thought his line of questioning was effective. He challenged Patel to turn around and look at the Capitol police officers who were in that hearing room and basically, acknowledge that, he had raised money for some of the January 6th convicts and defendants. Patel wouldn't do that. It was, I think it underscores that police officers were assaulted on January 6, 2021, and that, Kash Patel has defended some of these people who assaulted police officers, that he, raised money for the cause. Now, Patel, he really pushed back strongly on that, said it was an abject lie. He said that Schiff knows it, but I think that Schiff did a good job of raising this. And the broader point is that, Republican senators know that pardoning the January 6th defendants and those convicted of serious crimes, especially those who were convicted of assaulting police officers, that is not popular. Polling shows that nearly 2/3 of Americans did not support that. So, by linking that to Patel and kind of his weakness on that issue, I think is a win for Democrats. Now, does it make any vote in his confirmation hearing, in the confirmation vote? No. And I spoke to Dick Durbin, the chairman, or not the chairman, the former chairman. He's now the top-ranking Democrat in the Judiciary Committee. And he told me plainly that, look, the votes are in for Patel. And he said the Republicans are all going to vote for him. They're all lined up behind him. So the bottom line is Patel will be confirmed. Will this have any impact in the court of public opinion? Will this make a difference, come Election Day 2026? That's really what Democrats are positioning for right now.
Yeah, that's left to be determined, but certainly it appears there's some big changes coming at the FBI. Alexander Bolton, thanks so much for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot for having me.
It's been nearly a month since New York City's controversial congestion pricing program went into effect. And now the Trump administration is considering a move that could ultimately put an end to it. That program received a key federal authorization from the Department of Transportation last year, then under the Biden administration. Now Trump's DOT, under the direction of newly appointed Secretary Sean Duffy, is considering pulling that authorization, which would effectively kill the program. The move would almost certainly kick off a legal battle between New York and the federal government. If authorization is rescinded, it would deliver on a promise Trump made to end the program, saying before he took office that the policy was harmful to the city's economy. Thousands of Palestinians across East Jerusalem, the West Bank, and the Gaza Strip are without many basic services today after an Israeli law banning a critical relief agency took effect Thursday. The law bans the UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian refugees from operating in Israeli territory. A second law also prohibits contact between UNRWA workers and Israeli officials. The two laws were passed after Israel alleged that 19 of the agency's 13,000 employees participated in the deadly attack on October 7, 2023. Those allegations have also led many UNRWA donors, including the U.S., to suspend funding. An internal UN investigation last August found that 9 of the 19 accused may have been involved, and their contracts were immediately terminated. Meantime, the fragile ceasefire in Gaza continues to hold. 3 male hostages are set to be released this weekend, including an American-Israeli hostage. The Palestinian Health Authority also announced this week that the Rafah crossing on the border of Gaza and Egypt will reopen this weekend. That's today's Daily Debrief. I'm Drew Petrimoulx. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Hill's YouTube channel, and come back here soon for the intersection between politics and policy.